Welcome to Wisdom Audiobooks. Have you ever felt anxious or unsure when communicating in high-pressure situations? Have you ever wished you could speak with the same confidence and poise as an FBI negotiator? Imagine being able to handle any conversation, whether it's a business negotiation, a personal disagreement, or even a difficult family discussion, with ease and effectiveness. This audiobook is designed to help you unlock that potential by teaching you powerful techniques used by some of the world's most skilled communicators. Introduction. The audiobook How to Master Confident Communication FBI Negotiator Techniques is written and published by Wisdom Audiobooks. We understand that many of you listening right now may feel stuck when it comes to communication. Maybe you've struggled to express yourself clearly, or perhaps you've found yourself losing control of your emotions during tough conversations. You might even avoid certain interactions altogether because they make you uncomfortable. These challenges are real, and they affect millions of people every day. But here's the good news: these skills can be learned. As someone who has spent years studying human behavior and communication, I want to assure you that you're not alone. We've all been there. At some point, we've faced moments where our words didn't land quite right, or we felt misunderstood. The key is learning how to navigate those moments effectively. That's why this audiobook was created, to give you practical tools and insights so you can transform the way you communicate. This audiobook will guide you step by step through the psychology behind confident communication. You'll learn how to read body language, manage your emotions, and build trust with others. Most importantly, you'll discover actionable strategies that you can start applying immediately to improve your relationships, your career, and your life. So, take a deep breath, relax, and prepare to embark on this transformative journey. By the end of this audiobook, you'll have everything you need to communicate confidently and authentically. Your wisdom journey starts here. Chapter 1: Understanding the Power of Communication. Before we dive into the techniques used by FBI negotiators, it's essential to understand why communication is such a powerful tool. Effective communication is not just about exchanging information, it's about creating connections, building trust, and influencing outcomes. In this chapter, we'll explore the critical elements of confident communication, including the importance of body language, active listening, and emotional control. By the end of this section, you'll have a solid foundation for mastering the skills that will transform your interactions. 1. The importance of confident communication. Let me start with a simple truth. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. This quote by George Bernard Shaw perfectly captures why so many conversations fail. We often assume that because we've spoken, the other person understands us. But real communication goes far beyond words. It requires clarity, empathy, and intentionality. Confident communication is not just for leaders or public speakers. It's a skill everyone needs. Think about it. Whether you're negotiating a business deal, resolving a conflict with a loved one, or even trying to make a new friend, how you communicate determines the outcome. Consider this example. Imagine two managers giving feedback to their teams. One manager speaks with hesitation, avoids eye contact, and uses vague language like, I guess this could be better. The other manager stands tall, maintains eye contact, and says, here's what worked well, and here's how we can improve next time. Which manager do you think inspires more confidence? It's clear that confident communication builds credibility and trust. But here's the catch: confidence doesn't mean being loud or forceful. True confidence comes from understanding your message, respecting your audience, and delivering it with authenticity. As Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. When you communicate confidently, you leave people feeling valued and understood. Now, let's break down the key components of confident communication and see how each one contributes to your success. 2. Nonverbal communication, the silent language. Did you know that over 90% of communication is nonverbal? Albert Mehrabian, a pioneer in the study of human communication, found that only 7% of a message is conveyed through words, while 38% comes from tone of voice and an astonishing 55% comes from body language. This means that if your nonverbal cues don't align with your words, people are likely to believe your body language over what you're saying. So, what does effective nonverbal communication look like? Let's break it down. Eye contact. Maintaining appropriate eye contact shows confidence and attentiveness. However, staring too intensely can come across as aggressive. Aim for a balance. Look at the person long enough to show engagement but glance away occasionally to avoid discomfort. Posture. Stand or sit up straight. Slouching signals insecurity, while good posture conveys authority and self-assurance. Picture a soldier standing at attention versus someone slumped on a couch. Which one looks more trustworthy? Gestures. Use hand gestures to emphasize points, but avoid overdoing it. Excessive movement can distract from your message. Instead, keep your gestures natural and purposeful. Facial expressions. Your face tells a story before you even speak. A warm smile can put others at ease, while a furrowed brow might signal frustration or disapproval. Pay attention to how your expressions align with your words. To illustrate the power of nonverbal communication, let me share a quick story. During a high-stakes hostage negotiation, former FBI agent Chris Voss noticed that the kidnapper kept adjusting his grip on the phone. Voss interpreted this as a sign of nervousness and adjusted his tone accordingly. He spoke calmly and reassuringly, which eventually led to a peaceful resolution. This anecdote highlights how reading and responding to nonverbal cues can make all the difference in communication. 3. Active listening, the key to connection. Now, let's talk about one of the most underrated aspects of communication: active listening. Most of us think we're good listeners, but the truth is, we often listen to respond rather than to understand. Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, famously said, "Seek first to understand, then to be understood." This principle is at the heart of active listening. Active listening involves 3 main components. 1. Focus. Give the speaker your full attention. Put away distractions like your phone or laptop. Lean slightly forward to show interest, and nod occasionally to acknowledge their points. 2. Reflection. Paraphrase what the speaker has said to confirm your understanding. For example, you might say, "What I hear you saying is..." This not only clarifies the message but also makes the speaker feel heard. 3. Empathy. Try to see things from the speaker's perspective. Even if you disagree, showing empathy helps build rapport. Here's a practical tip. When someone is speaking, count to 3 in your head before responding. This pause gives you time to process what they've said and prevents you from interrupting. It also signals respect and patience. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're having a disagreement with a colleague. Instead of jumping in to defend yourself, try saying, "I understand that you're frustrated because..." By validating their feelings, you create space for a constructive dialogue. Over time, practicing active listening will strengthen your relationships and enhance your ability to resolve conflicts peacefully. By now, you should have a clearer understanding of why confident communication matters and how nonverbal cues and active listening play crucial roles in building meaningful connections. Remember, communication is both an art and a science. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to grow. As we move forward, we'll delve deeper into the psychology behind FBI negotiation techniques and uncover strategies you can apply in your daily life. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. Chapter 2: The Psychology Behind FBI Negotiation Techniques. In this chapter, we're diving deep into the psychology that powers FBI negotiation techniques. You'll discover how understanding human behavior and emotions can transform your communication skills. From reading people's needs to controlling your own reactions, these strategies are designed to help you handle even the most challenging conversations with confidence. Let's begin by exploring the core principles that make FBI negotiators so effective. 1. Understanding the psychology of others. One of the most critical skills an FBI negotiator possesses is the ability to understand the psychology of the person they're dealing with. As the legendary psychologist Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." In communication, understanding someone's underlying motivations, fears, and desires allows you to guide the conversation toward a positive outcome. So, how do FBI negotiators achieve this? They start by focusing on 3 key areas. Identifying needs. Every person has unmet needs, whether it's validation, security, or control. By identifying these needs, you can tailor your approach to address them directly. For example, if someone feels unheard, simply acknowledging their perspective can diffuse tension. Reading emotions. Emotions drive behavior, especially in high-pressure situations. A skilled negotiator pays close attention to subtle cues like tone of voice, facial expressions, and hesitation. These signals reveal what someone is truly feeling, even if they're not saying it outright. Building rapport. Trust is the foundation of any successful negotiation. FBI agents often use a technique called mirroring, where they repeat back key phrases or words used by the other party. This creates a subconscious sense of familiarity and connection. Let me share a real-life example to illustrate this. During a bank robbery negotiation, former FBI agent Gary Nosner noticed that the robber kept referring to his family. Instead of focusing solely on resolving the situation, Nosner shifted the conversation to the man's loved ones. He asked questions like, "How is your family doing?" and "What would they want for you right now?" This shift allowed the robber to lower his guard and eventually surrender peacefully. The takeaway here is simple yet powerful. When you focus on understanding the other person's psychology, you create opportunities for resolution and connection. 2. Controlling your own emotions. While understanding others is crucial, controlling your own emotions is equally important. In high-stakes situations, losing your cool can escalate tensions and derail progress. As Aristotle wisely stated, anyone can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. FBI negotiators are trained to remain calm under pressure, and you can adopt their techniques too. Here's how. 1. Pause before reacting. When emotions run high, our instinct is to respond immediately. However, taking a moment to breathe can prevent impulsive reactions. Try inhaling deeply for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 4 seconds, and exhaling slowly for 4 seconds. This simple exercise activates your parasympathetic nervous system, helping you regain composure. 2. Label emotions. Another powerful technique is labeling emotions. When you name what you or the other person is feeling, it reduces the intensity of those emotions. For instance, if someone seems frustrated, you might say, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed." This acknowledgement often diffuses anger and opens the door for constructive dialogue. 3. Stay solution-focused. It's easy to get caught up in blame or negativity during difficult conversations. Instead, focus on finding solutions. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to move this conversation forward? Shifting your mindset from conflict to collaboration changes the dynamic entirely. To demonstrate the importance of emotional control, consider the story of Chris Voss during a kidnapping case. The kidnapper was agitated and threatening harm, but instead of reacting defensively, Voss remained calm and empathetic. He used phrases like, "I hear you're upset, and I want to help." His composed demeanor helped de-escalate the situation and ultimately saved lives. Remember, your emotions set the tone for the entire interaction. By mastering self-control, you not only protect your mental state but also inspire trust and cooperation from others. 3. Building trust through empathy. Empathy is the cornerstone of effective communication, especially in high-stakes situations. As FBI negotiators know, trust isn't built overnight. It's earned through genuine understanding and connection. Brené Brown, a renowned researcher on vulnerability and empathy, once said, "Empathy has no script. There is no right way or wrong way to do it. It's simply listening, holding space, and offering support." This mindset is crucial when trying to build rapport with others. Here's how you can practice empathy in your daily interactions. Active listening. We touched on this briefly in Chapter 1, but it bears repeating. When someone feels truly heard, they're more likely to open up and trust you. Avoid interrupting or jumping to conclusions. Instead, focus on their words and emotions. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of asking yes or no questions, invite the other person to share more. For example, instead of saying, "Are you okay?" try asking, "How are you feeling about everything that's happened?" This encourages deeper reflection and shows that you care. Validate their feelings. Even if you don't agree with someone, acknowledging their emotions can go a long way. Phrases like, "I can see why you'd feel that way," or, "That must have been really tough for you," demonstrate empathy and create a safe space for dialogue. Let me share another powerful story from the world of FBI negotiations. During a hostage situation, Agent Gary Nosner noticed that the suspect was visibly shaken and kept mentioning his fear of going to prison. Instead of dismissing these concerns, Nosner leaned into them. He said, "I understand you're scared about what might happen next. Let's work together to find a way forward." By validating the suspect's fears and showing compassion, Nosner was able to calm him down and negotiate a peaceful resolution. This story underscores the importance of empathy in communication. When people feel understood, they're more willing to cooperate, even in the most challenging circumstances. 4. Using strategic silence. One of the most underutilized tools in communication is silence. While many people feel uncomfortable with pauses in conversation, strategic silence can be incredibly powerful. As Lao Tzu wisely noted, "Silence is a source of great strength." In negotiations, silence allows the other person to fill the void, often revealing valuable information or softening their stance. Here's how you can use silence effectively. 1. Pause after asking questions. After posing a question, resist the urge to jump in with follow-ups. Give the other person time to think and respond. This not only shows respect but also encourages them to share more than they initially intended. 2. Use silence to diffuse tension. In heated conversations, a well-timed pause can interrupt the cycle of escalation. For example, if someone raises their voice, simply staying silent for a few seconds can prompt them to lower theirs. 3. Let silence speak for you. Sometimes, saying nothing speaks louder than words. If someone makes an unreasonable demand, remaining silent can signal that you're unwilling to engage without further clarification. To illustrate this technique, consider a negotiation scenario where a business owner is trying to close a deal. After presenting their offer, they remain silent instead of immediately justifying or defending it. The potential client, feeling the weight of the pause, may counter with a higher offer than expected. This simple yet effective strategy demonstrates how silence can tilt the balance in your favor. By now, you've gained insight into the psychology that drives FBI negotiation techniques. From understanding the needs and emotions of others to controlling your own reactions, building trust through empathy, and leveraging strategic silence, these strategies are designed to help you navigate even the toughest conversations with confidence. Remember, mastering these skills takes practice, but the rewards are worth it. As you apply these principles in your personal and professional life, you'll notice a profound shift in how people respond to you. Communication becomes less about winning and more about creating win-win outcomes for everyone involved. Chapter 3. Practical Strategies for Confident Communication. Now that we've explored the psychology behind confident communication, it's time to put theory into practice. In this chapter, we'll dive into actionable strategies you can use to enhance your communication skills. From asking the right questions to using powerful language and reading body language effectively, these techniques will empower you to navigate any conversation with confidence. Let's get started. 1. The art of asking powerful questions. One of the most underrated tools in communication is the ability to ask the right questions. As Tony Robbins once said, "Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers." When you frame your questions thoughtfully, you not only gather valuable information but also guide the direction of the conversation. Here are some key principles for asking powerful questions. Ask open-ended questions. Closed questions like, "Do you agree?" or "Is this okay?" often lead to one-word answers. Instead, use open-ended questions to encourage deeper reflection. For example, "What are your thoughts on this approach?" or "How do you envision us moving forward?" Focus on solutions. When someone presents a problem, avoid dwelling on the issue itself. Instead, shift the focus toward solutions by asking, What steps can we take to address this? Or, what would success look like for you? Use curiosity as a tool. Genuine curiosity builds trust and rapport. If you're unsure about something, don't hesitate to ask clarifying questions like, "Can you tell me more about that?" Or, "Help me understand your perspective better." Let me share an example to illustrate the power of questioning. Imagine you're negotiating a salary increase with your employer. Instead of saying, "I want a raise," you could ask, "What metrics would you consider when evaluating an employee for a promotion or salary adjustment?" This question demonstrates professionalism and invites your employer to provide specific feedback, giving you a clearer path to achieving your goal. Here's another tip. Pay attention to how your questions make the other person feel. A well-phrased question should feel collaborative rather than confrontational. For instance, instead of saying, "Why didn't you meet the deadline?" try asking, "What challenges did you face while working on this project?" This subtle shift reduces defensiveness and fosters a more productive dialogue. 2. Using language that inspires confidence. The words you choose have a profound impact on how others perceive you. As Zig Ziglar famously said, "Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude." When it comes to communication, confident language signals authority and competence. Here are some strategies for using language that inspires confidence. 1. Speak with clarity. Avoid vague or ambiguous phrases like "I guess" or "maybe." Instead, use decisive language such as "I believe," "I recommend," or "This is the best course of action." 2. Replace weak words. Words like "just," "actually," or "sorry" can undermine your authority. For example, instead of saying, "I'm sorry to bother you, but," simply state, "I'd like to discuss." This small change makes a big difference in how your message lands. 3. Use positive framing. Focus on what you can do rather than what you can't. For instance, instead of saying, "We don't have the resources for that," try saying, "Here's how we can achieve a similar outcome within our current means." Let's look at a real-world example. During a high-profile negotiation, former FBI agent Chris Voss used positive framing to de-escalate tension. When the suspect expressed frustration about being misunderstood, Voss responded, "I see where you're coming from, and I want to help us find a way forward together." Notice how his choice of words emphasized collaboration rather than conflict. Another technique is to incorporate storytelling into your communication. Humans are naturally drawn to narratives because they create emotional connections. For instance, if you're pitching an idea to your team, you might say, "Imagine a scenario where we streamline our processes. This could save us hours each week and boost morale across the board." By painting a vivid picture, you engage your audience and make your point more memorable. Finally, remember that tone matters just as much as content. Speak slowly and deliberately to convey confidence, and vary your pitch to maintain interest. Practice recording yourself to identify areas for improvement. It's a simple yet effective way to refine your delivery. 3. Mastering body language, reading and responding. Body language is a silent yet powerful form of communication. As we discussed earlier, nonverbal cues often speak louder than words. But to truly master confident communication, you need to not only control your own body language but also read and respond effectively to others. Here's how you can do both. 1. Reading nonverbal cues. Facial expressions. Pay attention to microexpressions, brief, involuntary facial movements that reveal true emotions. For example, a fleeting frown might indicate doubt or discomfort, even if the person is smiling outwardly. Posture and gestures. Crossed arms may signal defensiveness, while leaning forward suggests engagement. Similarly, excessive fidgeting could indicate nervousness or impatience. Proximity. The physical distance someone maintains during a conversation can reveal their comfort level. If they step back, they may feel overwhelmed. If they lean in, they're likely interested. 2. Responding appropriately. Once you've identified these cues, adjust your behavior to create a positive dynamic. For instance, if someone seems closed off, e.g., crossed arms, try mirroring their posture briefly before opening up yours to encourage them to do the same. If they appear anxious, use calming phrases like, "Take your time, we're here to work this out together." Let me share a story to illustrate this. During a business meeting, a sales executive noticed that the client kept glancing at his watch and tapping his foot, a clear sign of impatience. Instead of continuing with her prepared presentation, she paused and asked, "Would you like me to focus on a specific area that's most relevant to you?" By reading his body language and adapting her approach, she regained his attention and ultimately closed the deal. Another tip: use your own body language strategically. Maintain steady eye contact to show attentiveness, but avoid staring, which can feel intimidating. Nod occasionally to signal agreement or understanding, and keep your gestures natural and purposeful. These small adjustments can significantly enhance your ability to connect with others. 4. Practicing emotional intelligence in conversations. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. As Daniel Goleman, author of Emotional Intelligence, explains, "In a very real sense, we have two minds, one that thinks and one that feels." Developing EQ is essential for confident communication because it allows you to navigate complex social dynamics with grace and empathy. Here are some ways to practice emotional intelligence in your conversations. 1. Self-awareness. Start by becoming more aware of your emotional triggers. What situations make you feel frustrated, defensive, or anxious? Once you identify these triggers, you can prepare strategies to stay calm. For example, if you know criticism makes you defensive, remind yourself to listen fully before responding. 2. Negative interactions into positive ones. For instance, instead of 2. Empathy in action. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Ask yourself, how would I feel in their situation? This perspective shift helps you respond with compassion rather than judgment. To demonstrate the power of EQ, consider the following scenario. A manager notices that one of her team members has been unusually quiet during meetings. Instead of ignoring it or addressing it publicly, she pulls the employee aside privately and asks, "I've noticed you seem quieter lately. Is there anything I can do to support you?" This empathetic approach not only strengthens their relationship, but also creates a safe space for honest dialogue. Finally, don't forget the importance of follow-through. Emotional intelligence isn't just about what you say, it's about what you do afterward. If someone shares a concern with you, take action to address it. Even small gestures, like sending a follow-up email or checking in later, show that you value their input and care about their well-being. By now, you've learned practical strategies to elevate your communication skills. From asking powerful questions and using confident language to mastering body language and practicing emotional intelligence, these techniques will help you navigate any conversation with poise and effectiveness. Remember, confident communication is not about perfection, it's about progress. Every interaction is an opportunity to grow and refine your abilities. As we move forward, keep these strategies in mind and apply them consistently. In the next chapter, we'll explore real-life applications and success stories to inspire you further. Stay tuned, you're closer than ever to mastering confident communication. Chapter 4: Real-Life Applications and Success Stories. In this chapter, we'll explore how the techniques we've discussed so far can be applied in real-world scenarios. From high-stakes FBI negotiations to everyday business and personal interactions, these strategies have proven their effectiveness time and again. Through inspiring stories and practical examples, you'll see firsthand how confident communication can transform challenges into opportunities. Let's dive in. 1. Lessons from FBI negotiations: the power of empathy and strategy. One of the most compelling examples of confident communication comes from the world of FBI hostage negotiations. These situations are often life or death, requiring negotiators to remain calm, empathetic, and strategic under immense pressure. Let's take a closer look at one remarkable case. In 1993, during the infamous Waco siege in Texas, FBI negotiator Gary Nosner was tasked with communicating with David Koresh, the leader of a religious sect barricaded inside a compound. Tensions were high, and the stakes couldn't have been greater. Instead of resorting to aggression or ultimatums, Nosner employed a combination of empathy and patience. He began by acknowledging Koresh's beliefs and validating his concerns, saying things like, "I understand you're protecting your community," and "Let's find a way to ensure everyone stays safe." This approach, rooted in active listening and emotional intelligence, allowed Nosner to build trust over time. While the situation ultimately ended tragically due to external factors, Nosner's efforts demonstrated the power of confident communication in even the most volatile environments. His story reminds us that no matter how dire the circumstances, empathy and strategy can pave the way for resolution. The takeaway here is clear: whether you're negotiating a business deal or resolving a personal conflict, the principles remain the same. By focusing on understanding the other person's perspective and maintaining composure, you create space for constructive dialogue. As Nosner himself once said, "Negotiation is not about winning, it's about finding solutions that work for everyone involved." 2. Transforming business relationships, a story of strategic communication. Now, let's shift gears and examine how these techniques can be applied in a corporate setting. Imagine a sales executive named Sarah who was struggling to close a major deal with a potential client. Despite her best efforts, the client seemed hesitant and unresponsive. Frustrated but determined, Sarah decided to revisit her approach using the strategies we've discussed. First, she focused on asking powerful questions. Instead of pushing her product's features, she asked, "What challenges are you currently facing that our solution could address?" This question shifted the conversation from selling to solving, allowing the client to open up about their pain points. Next, Sarah paid close attention to the client's body language. She noticed subtle signs of discomfort when discussing pricing, so she addressed it directly by saying, "I sense there might be some concerns about cost. Is that something we should explore further?" This acknowledgement reassured the client that their needs were being heard. Finally, Sarah used confident language to reinforce her proposal. Instead of saying, "We hope you'll consider us," she stated, "Based on our discussion, I believe our solution aligns perfectly with your goals." Her decisive tone instilled confidence, and ultimately led to the client signing the contract. Sarah's success highlights the importance of adapting your communication style to fit the situation. By combining active listening, strategic questioning, and confident language, she turned a challenging negotiation into a win-win outcome. This story serves as a reminder that the right approach can make all the difference in building strong business relationships. 3. Strengthening personal relationships, communication in everyday life. Confident communication isn't just for high-stakes situations or business settings, it's equally important in our personal lives. Whether you're navigating a disagreement with a loved one or trying to deepen your connection with friends, the principles we've discussed can transform your relationships. Let me share a story about a couple named Mark and Lisa, who were struggling to communicate effectively. They often found themselves in heated arguments over small issues, like household chores or financial decisions. Frustrated and feeling disconnected, they decided to take a step back and apply some of the techniques from this audiobook. The first change they made was practicing active listening. Instead of interrupting each other during disagreements, they began using reflective statements like, "What I hear you saying is..." This simple shift helped them understand each other's perspectives without jumping to conclusions. For example, when Lisa expressed frustration about Mark leaving his clothes on the floor, he responded with, "I see that my habits are affecting you, and I want to fix that." By validating her feelings, he diffused the tension and opened the door for collaboration. Next, they focused on emotional intelligence. Both Mark and Lisa started paying attention to their own emotional triggers and how they influenced their reactions. When Mark felt defensive about money discussions, he reminded himself to pause and breathe before responding. Similarly, Lisa practiced empathy by asking herself, "How would I feel if I were in his shoes?" These small adjustments allowed them to approach conflicts with compassion rather than anger. Over time, their efforts paid off. Not only did they resolve their immediate issues, but they also built a stronger foundation of trust and understanding. As Lisa later reflected, "It wasn't about changing who we were, it was about learning how to talk to each other in a way that brought us closer." This story underscores the importance of confident communication in personal relationships. By applying these strategies consistently, you too can strengthen your connections with loved ones and create a more harmonious home environment. 4. Inspiring change, a story of leadership and influence. Finally, let's explore how confident communication can inspire change on a larger scale. Leaders who master these skills have the power to motivate teams, drive innovation, and foster meaningful progress. One such leader is Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, whose transformational leadership style has been widely praised. When Nadella took over as CEO in 2014, Microsoft was struggling to adapt to the rapidly evolving tech landscape. Recognizing the need for cultural change, Nadella prioritized open and empathetic communication within the organization. He encouraged employees to embrace a growth mindset, a belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. One of his most impactful initiatives was hosting regular town hall meetings where employees could voice their ideas and concerns. Unlike traditional top-down approaches, Nadella listened actively and responded thoughtfully, ensuring everyone felt heard. He also emphasized the importance of storytelling, sharing personal anecdotes to connect with his team on an emotional level. For instance, he often spoke about his journey as an immigrant and how it shaped his perspective on resilience and collaboration. Under Nadella's leadership, Microsoft not only regained its competitive edge, but also became a beacon of inclusivity and innovation. His success demonstrates that confident communication isn't just about individual interactions, it's about creating a culture of trust and empowerment. This example serves as a powerful reminder that no matter your role or industry, mastering confident communication can help you lead with purpose and inspire others to achieve greatness. By now, you've seen how the techniques we've explored can be applied across various aspects of life, from high-pressure negotiations to personal relationships and leadership roles. These stories highlight the transformative power of confident communication and serve as proof that anyone can master these skills with practice and determination. As we move into the final chapter, remember that every interaction is an opportunity to grow. The tools and strategies you've learned here are not just theoretical, they're practical steps you can take today to become a more effective communicator. Stay tuned for our concluding thoughts and final encouragement. Chapter 5: Building Confidence Through Practice. In this final chapter, we'll focus on how to sustain and grow your newfound communication skills. Confidence isn't built overnight, it's developed through consistent practice and reflection. Here, we'll explore actionable exercises, techniques for self-improvement, and strategies to stay motivated on your journey. Let's dive in and discover how you can make confident communication a lifelong habit. 1. Daily exercises to strengthen your skills. The key to mastering confident communication lies in regular practice. Just like any other skill, the more you engage with it, the better you become. Below are some daily exercises designed to help you refine your abilities. 1. Mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and practice speaking confidently. Pay attention to your posture, facial expressions, and gestures. Are you maintaining eye contact? Do your movements align with your words? This exercise helps you become more aware of your nonverbal cues. 2. Active listening drills. Spend 5 minutes each day actively listening to someone, a friend, family member, or colleague. Focus entirely on their words without interrupting. Afterward, summarize what they said to ensure you understood correctly. Over time, this will train your brain to listen more deeply. 3. Journaling reflections. At the end of each day, write down one interaction that went well and one that could have been improved. Ask yourself questions like, "What did I do right?" Or, "How could I have handled that differently?" Journaling not only reinforces learning but also builds self-awareness. Let me share an example of how these exercises can make a difference. A young professional named Emma struggled with public speaking. To overcome her fear, she started practicing in front of a mirror every evening. She focused on slowing her speech, using hand gestures effectively, and smiling warmly. Within weeks, she noticed a significant improvement in her delivery. Her colleagues began complimenting her presentations, and soon she was volunteering to lead meetings, a testament to the power of consistent practice. Another powerful tool is role-playing. Find a friend or mentor and simulate challenging conversations, such as negotiating a raise or resolving a conflict. Practicing in a safe environment prepares you for real-world scenarios, boosting your confidence when it matters most. 2. Seeking feedback and adjusting. Feedback is one of the most valuable resources for growth. As Ken Blanchard, author of The 1-Minute Manager, once said, "Feedback is the breakfast of champions." Constructive criticism allows you to identify blind spots and refine your approach. Here's how to seek and use feedback effectively. 1. Ask open-ended questions. When requesting feedback, avoid yes or no questions. Instead, ask, "What's one thing I could improve about my communication style?" Or, "How did my message land with you?" These questions invite thoughtful responses. 2. Be open to criticism. It's natural to feel defensive when receiving feedback, but try to view it as an opportunity rather than a judgment. Remind yourself that everyone has room to grow. 3. Implement changes gradually. Once you've identified areas for improvement, focus on one at a time. For instance, if someone mentions that you speak too quickly, practice slowing down during your next few conversations. Small adjustments add up over time. Consider the story of James, a team leader who wanted to improve his leadership communication. He asked his team for honest feedback and learned that he often interrupted others during discussions. Determined to change, James started pausing intentionally before responding and encouraged quieter team members to share their thoughts. Within months, his team reported feeling more valued and engaged, and James became known as a collaborative leader. Remember, feedback isn't just about fixing weaknesses. It's also about amplifying strengths. Celebrate what you're doing well while continuing to push yourself toward excellence. 3. Staying motivated and overcoming setbacks. On your journey to mastering confident communication, setbacks are inevitable. There will be moments when you feel discouraged or doubt your progress. The key is to stay motivated and view challenges as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. Here's how you can maintain momentum. 1. Set realistic goals. Break down your larger goal of becoming a confident communicator into smaller, achievable milestones. For example, aim to practice active listening in one conversation per day or give constructive feedback to a colleague once a week. Celebrating these small wins keeps you motivated. 2. Keep reminding why breakthrough. 2. Visualize success. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself excelling in a challenging conversation. Imagine the positive outcomes, whether it's resolving a conflict, delivering a compelling presentation, or building stronger relationships. Visualization primes your mind for success and reduces anxiety. Let me share a story about resilience. A young entrepreneur named Alex faced rejection after rejection while pitching his startup idea to investors. At one point, he considered giving up. Instead, he decided to reframe his mindset. He began journaling about what he learned from each rejection and sought feedback to improve his pitch. Slowly but surely, his persistence paid off. One investor, impressed by his determination and refined approach, decided to fund his venture. Reflecting on his journey, Alex said, "Every no brought me closer to a yes." This story reminds us that setbacks are not failures. They're opportunities to learn and grow. By staying committed to your goals and embracing challenges, you'll emerge stronger and more confident. Audiobook conclusion. As we wrap up this audiobook, let's take a moment to reflect on the key lessons we've explored together. First, we learned that confident communication is not just about speaking, it's about connecting. We delved into the power of nonverbal cues, active listening, and emotional intelligence, understanding how these elements shape every interaction. Next, we uncovered the psychology behind FBI negotiation techniques, discovering how empathy, strategic silence, and reading emotions can transform even the most challenging conversations. We then applied these principles to real-life scenarios, from business negotiations to personal relationships, showing how they lead to meaningful outcomes. Finally, we discussed the importance of consistent practice, feedback, and resilience in building lasting confidence. These tools are not just theoretical, They're practical steps you can start using today to enhance your communication skills. Remember, confident communication is a journey, not a destination. Each conversation is an opportunity to grow, connect, and inspire. By embracing these strategies, you'll not only improve your relationships but also unlock new opportunities for success and fulfillment. Now it's your turn to take action. I encourage you to commit to applying at least one technique from this audiobook in your daily life. Whether it's practicing active listening, using confident language, or simply pausing before responding, small changes can yield extraordinary results. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Growth happens when you challenge yourself to try something new. And remember, setbacks are part of the process. Embrace them as learning experiences. As Tony Robbins once said, "It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, it's what we do consistently." Stay patient with yourself. Confidence doesn't come overnight, but with persistence, you'll see remarkable progress. Celebrate every milestone, no matter how small, and keep pushing forward. You have everything you need to become a master communicator. Thank you so much for joining me on this transformative journey. Your time and attention mean the world to me, and I'm honored to have shared these insights with you. If you found value in this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the Wisdom Audiobooks channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that empowers and inspires. If you have any questions or would like to share your experiences, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Together, let's build a community of confident communicators who uplift and inspire one another. Once again, thank you for being here. Keep shining, keep growing, and remember, your words have the power to change the world.